This webinar is designed to assist the tobacco industry by providing an overview of warning letters and by discussing the process for responding to warning letters sent to online retailers. The webinar will also be discussing FDA surveillance and monitoring of tobacco products that are generally found on the Internet and in printed publications and other media, as well as examples of prior FDA warning letters and violations cited under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, or the FD&C Act. This presentation consists of 4 parts: an overview of Internet and publication surveillance, warning letters that may arise from FDA's online surveillance, examples of violations cited in the warning letters that we have encountered, and considerations when responding to warning letters. Let's start with an overview of Internet and publication surveillance. The FD&C Act, as amended by the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, also known as the Tobacco Control Act, gives FDA broad authority to regulate the manufacture, sale, distribution, and marketing of tobacco products. The Tobacco Control Act gave FDA immediate authority to regulate cigarettes, cigarette tobacco, roll-your-own tobacco, and smokeless tobacco under Chapter 9 of the FD&C Act. The FD&C Act also allows FDA, through regulation, to deem any other tobacco products subject to its tobacco product authorities. The FD&C Act defines tobacco products, in part, as any product made or derived from tobacco or containing nicotine from any source that is intended for human consumption, including any component, part, or accessory of a tobacco product. The final deeming rule became effective on August 8, 2016, which gave FDA authority over all products that meet the definition of a tobacco product, including components and parts, but excluding accessories of those newly deemed tobacco products. The deeming rule requires newly deemed tobacco products to comply with statutory and regulatory requirements. On March 15, 2022, the President signed legislation to amend the FD&C Act to extend FDA's jurisdiction to products containing nicotine from any source, not just nicotine derived from tobacco. See Consolidated Appropriations Act 2022, Public Law 117-103, Division P, Title I, Subtitle B. Specifically, this legislation expanded the definition of tobacco product under Section 201RR of the FD&C Act to include products containing nicotine from any source. Tobacco products, including products containing nicotine from any source, must be in compliance with the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. As mentioned earlier, the Tobacco Control Act gave FDA immediate authority to regulate cigarettes, cigarette tobacco, roll-your-own tobacco, and smokeless tobacco. Following the deeming rule, some examples of deemed tobacco products include electronic nicotine delivery systems, or ENDS, including e-cigarettes, e-cigars, and vape pens, cigars, pipe tobacco, nicotine gels, water pipe or hookah, dissolvables not already under FDA's authority, future tobacco products. For more information, we encourage you to visit our website at the link on the slide. Title 21 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 1100.3, defines component or part and accessory. The term component or part is defined as any software or assembly of materials intended or reasonably expected to 1. Alter or affect the tobacco product's performance, composition, constituents, or characteristics, or 2. Be used with or for the human consumption of a tobacco product. Some examples of components or parts of the deemed products could include cigar tobacco filler, filters, or wrappers, and batteries for electronic nicotine delivery systems. Component or part excludes anything that is an accessory of a tobacco product. Accessory means any product that is intended or reasonably expected to be used with or for the human consumption of a tobacco product, does not contain tobacco, and is not made or derived from tobacco, and meets either of the following. 1. Is not intended or reasonably expected to affect or alter the performance, composition, constituents, or characteristics of a tobacco product, or 2. Is intended or reasonably expected to affect or maintain the performance, composition, constituents, or characteristics of a tobacco product, but solely controls moisture and/or temperature of a stored product, like a humidor, or solely provides an external heat source to initiate but not maintain combustion of a tobacco product, like a lighter. Some other examples of accessories of the newly deemed tobacco products are pipe pouches, ashtrays, and cigar cutters. In fulfilling FDA's mandate to regulate the sale, distribution, marketing, and advertising of tobacco products, FDA's Center for Tobacco Products conducts routine surveillance of online retailers and manufacturers on the Internet and publications, including online retailers and social media, to monitor compliance with the statutory and regulatory requirements for tobacco products. In instances where our surveillance efforts reveal a violation of the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations, CTP may issue a warning letter. CTP has issued warning letters to tobacco product manufacturers, importers, and retailers for violations of the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. We will be reviewing some examples of violations under the FD&C Act and warning letters that have recently been issued. Here are some examples of warning letters CTP has issued to online retailers. Selling tobacco products to individuals under the federal minimum age of sale. Offering for sale and/or advertising smokeless tobacco products, cigarette tobacco, roll-your-own tobacco, and covered tobacco products other than cigars and pipe tobacco, without the required warning statement. Offering for sale new tobacco products without required marketing authorization, including ENDS products that were marketed and/or targeted to youth. Selling or distributing, in interstate commerce, tobacco products as modified risk tobacco products without an FDA order in effect. Now, let's move on to warning letters and compliance actions. In general, FDA issues warning letters for violations of regulatory significance. Warning letters are agency advisory actions that are meant to notify regulated industry of violations and achieve prompt voluntary compliance with the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. Warning letters are not a final agency action and do not provide an exhaustive list of all violations. A warning letter contains a description of cited violations and requests a response from a firm within 15 working days of the warning letter's receipt. The response should describe corrective actions, including dates the violations were corrected and a plan for maintaining compliance with the FD&C Act. It is FDA's general practice to provide a firm the opportunity to promptly take corrective action before FDA initiates an enforcement action. It is the regulated industry's responsibility to ensure that their respective tobacco products and all related labeling and advertising, including e-commerce, social networking, or search engine websites, as well as any other media in which they advertise and in any retail establishments, comply with the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. Failure to correct the violations and come into full compliance with the FD&C Act may result in FDA taking regulatory or legal action, including, but not limited to, civil money penalties, no tobacco sale orders, criminal prosecution, seizure, and/or injunction. Warning letters are posted on the FDA website. You can search for them in either of the two links listed in this slide. Now, let's switch gears and discuss common violations that may be found in warning letters. As stated earlier, examples of violations in warning letters that CTP has issued to online retailers include selling tobacco products to individuals under the federal minimum age of sale, offering for sale and/or advertising smokeless tobacco products, cigarette tobacco, roll-your-own tobacco, and covered tobacco products other than cigars and pipe tobacco without the required warning statement, offering for sale new tobacco products without required marketing authorization, including ENDS products that were marketed and/or targeted to youth, selling or distributing in interstate commerce tobacco products as modified risk tobacco products without an FDA order in effect. I'd like to describe the violations a bit more in the following slides. A retailer is defined as any person who sells tobacco products to individuals for personal consumption, or who operates a facility where vending machines or self-service displays are permitted. The Further Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2020, or Appropriations Act, enacted on December 20, 2019, established and made immediately effective a new federal minimum age for the sale of tobacco products. Specifically, the Appropriations Act amended Section 906D of the FD&C Act to make it unlawful for any retailer to sell a tobacco product to any person younger than 21 years of age. FDA provides information about the increase in the federal minimum age of sale for tobacco products on its website. The Appropriations Act also directed FDA to issue a final rule to amend its regulations to update the minimum age-related requirements in Subpart B of 21 CFR Part 1140. Therefore, as part of this rulemaking, FDA is making conforming changes to its regulations to reflect, among other things, that the minimum age of sale is now 21 years of age. Currently, under Section 903A 7B of the FD&C Act, tobacco products are misbranded if sold or distributed to any person younger than 21 years of age. To better ensure compliance with this requirement, FDA encourages online retailers to use adequate means of age and identity verification to prevent sales of cigarettes, smokeless tobacco, or covered tobacco products online to individuals under the age of 21 years. An example of age verification may include using an independent age and identity verification service that compares customer information against independent, competent, and reliable data sources such as public records to prevent the sale to individuals who are under 21 years. A covered tobacco product is any tobacco product deemed to be subject to the FD&C Act under 21 CFR 1100.2, but excludes any component or part that is not made or derived from tobacco. For example, cigars, liquid nicotine, hookah, water pipe, tobacco, and pipe tobacco would be considered covered tobacco products, while vaporizers or pipes that are not preloaded with tobacco or tobacco-derived substance would not. On this slide, you will see the required nicotine warning statement that must appear on packages and advertisements for roll-your-own tobacco, cigarette tobacco, and covered tobacco products other than cigars and pipe tobacco. The warning statement required by 21 CFR 1143.3A1 reads, "Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical." This required warning statement must also meet certain requirements with respect to font, text, size, placement, and formatting of the warning statement on the package labels. That is, the required warning statement on package labels must also appear directly on the package and be clearly visible under any cellophane or other clear wrapping, as follows. Be located in a conspicuous and prominent place on the two principal display panels of the package. Comprise at least 30% of each of the principal display panels. Be printed in at least 12-point font size and must occupy the greatest possible proportion of the warning label area set aside for the required text. Be printed in conspicuous and legible Helvetica bold or Arial bold type or other sans serif fonts, and in black text on a white background or white text on a black background in a manner that contrasts by typography, layout, or color with all other printed material on the package. Be capitalized and punctuated as indicated in 21 CFR 1143.3A1, and be centered in the warning area in which the text is required to be printed and positioned such that the text of the required warning statement and the other information on the principal display panels have the same orientation. The United States District Court for the District of Columbia issued an order vacating the health warning requirements for cigars and pipe tobacco set forth in 21 CFR 1143.3 and 1143.5 and remanded the final deeming rules warning requirements for cigars and pipe tobacco back to the agency. See Order, Cigar Association of America versus U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Although the requirement has been vacated, cigar and pipe tobacco firms may choose to voluntarily comply with these health warning provisions. Since July 22, 2010, smokeless tobacco product packaging and advertising must bear one of the following required warning label statements per Section 3 of the Comprehensive Smokeless Tobacco Health Education Act, or CSTHEA, as amended by Section 204 of the Tobacco Control Act in accordance with an FDA-approved warning plan. Warning: this product can cause mouth cancer. Warning: this product can cause gum disease and tooth loss. Warning: this product is not a safe alternative to cigarettes. Warning: smokeless tobacco is addictive. These required warning statements must also meet certain requirements with respect to font, text, size, placement, and formatting of the warning statements on the package labels and advertisements. Each warning statement must be located on the two principal display panels of the package, and each label statement shall comprise at least 30% of each such display panel, and in 17-point conspicuous and legible type, and in black text on a white background or white text on a black background in a manner that contrasts by typography, layout, or color with all other printed material on the package in an alternating fashion under the warning plan, except that if the text of a label statement would occupy more than 70% of the area specified above, such text may appear in a smaller type size, so long as at least 60% of such warning area is occupied by the label statement. Lack of the required smokeless tobacco product warning label statements misbrands the products under Sections 903A1 and or 903A7A of the FD&C Act. In March 2020, FDA finalized the required warnings for cigarette packages and advertisements rule, establishing 11 new cigarette health warnings consisting of textual warning statements accompanied by color graphics in the form of concordant photorealistic images depicting the negative health consequences of cigarette smoking. These new required warnings, as shown on this slide, depict some of the lesser-known but serious health risks of smoking. On December 7, 2022, the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of Texas issued an order in the case of R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company versus U.S. Food and Drug Administration, vacating the required warnings for cigarette packages and advertisements rule. Currently, FDA is not recommending that entities submit cigarette plans. If a firm has already submitted a plan, no further action is needed at this time. FDA will provide further updates regarding submission of cigarette plans as they are available. All new tobacco products, including ENDS products, must receive pre-market authorization from FDA to be legally marketed. Pre-market applications for all deemed new tobacco products on the market as of August 8, 2016, including ENDS, were due to FDA by the court-ordered September 9, 2020 deadline. As of April 14, 2022, manufacturers, distributors, importers, and retailers of tobacco products containing non-tobacco nicotine, or NTN, that is, nicotine not made or derived from tobacco, such as synthetic nicotine, must ensure compliance with applicable requirements under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, or FD&C Act, and its implementing regulations, such as not selling these products to persons under 21 years of age, both in person and online. Not marketing these products as modified risk tobacco products without FDA's authorization, and not distributing free samples of these products. Also, manufacturers of NTN products who wish to market their product are required to submit a pre-market application and obtain FDA authorization to market their product. All NTN products on the market without pre-market authorization are subject to FDA enforcement. Examples of actions FDA has taken towards ENDS products which lack pre-market authorization include warning letters issued to companies for marketing unauthorized ENDS products that imitate foods such as popsicles, feature youth-appealing characters from the TV show Baby Bus, or are designed to look like toys and youth-appealing electronics like glow sticks and walkie-talkies. FDA found that these ENDS products contain labeling and or advertising that are targeted to minors and or whose marketing is likely to promote use of ENDS by minors. Additionally, FDA has issued warning letters to companies with brands popular among youth, including Puff Bar, for unlawfully marketing ENDS that lack pre-market authorization. In addition, FDA has issued warning letters to companies who manufacture and operate websites selling ENDS products, including ENDS products made with non-tobacco nicotine, also known as NTN, that lack pre-market authorization, advising them that selling these products is illegal and therefore they cannot be sold or distributed in the U.S. For more information on these actions, please visit FDA's website. Now, I'm going to discuss modified risk tobacco products. A modified risk tobacco product, or MRTP, is defined under 911B1 of the FD&C Act as any tobacco product that is sold or distributed for use to reduce harm or the risk of tobacco-related disease associated with commercially marketed tobacco products. Under Section 911A of the FD&C Act, no person may introduce or deliver for introduction into interstate commerce any modified risk tobacco product without an order in effect issued by FDA pursuant to Section 911G. So, what are MRTPs? First, any tobacco product with a label, labeling, or advertising that uses light, mild, low, or similar descriptors is an MRTP. A tobacco product is also an MRTP if its label, labeling, or advertising represents explicitly or implicitly that the tobacco product presents a lower risk of tobacco-related disease or is less harmful than other commercially marketed tobacco products. The tobacco product or its smoke contains a reduced level or presents a reduced exposure to a substance, or the tobacco product or its smoke does not contain a substance or is free of a substance. Examples include low tar or low nicotine or less harmful claims. Lastly, an MRTP is a product where the manufacturer has taken any action that would be reasonably expected to result in consumers believing that the tobacco product or its smoke may present a lower risk of disease or is less harmful than one or more commercially marketed tobacco products, or presents a reduced exposure to, or does not contain, or is free of a substance. FDA has issued warning letters to firms for selling or distributing ENDS products that were labeled or advertised as presenting a lower risk of tobacco-related disease, being less harmful than one or more other commercially marketed tobacco products, or having a reduced level of exposure to a substance without a marketing order in effect. For example, a website advertised the following modified risk information regarding ENDS products without an FDA authorization order in effect. Vaping is used as safer and healthier alternative to smoking. The Rosie has two separate departments for the battery and juice, which certain physicians believe decreases turbulence and consumption of harmful metals, including aluminum, lithium, cranium, and others. Lastly, let's discuss considerations when responding to warning letters. Once the warning letter is received, the firm should take prompt action to correct the violation or violations cited in the letter. A written response should be submitted to FDA within 15 working days from the date of receipt, including corrective actions to address any violations and to bring products into compliance, including the dates the violative labeling, advertising, sale, and/or distribution were discontinued, and plan for maintaining compliance with the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. The violation or violations cited in the warning letter are not intended to be an all-inclusive statement of violations that exist. And to reiterate what was stated earlier, it is the regulated industry's responsibility to ensure that their respective tobacco products and all related labeling and advertising, including e-commerce, social networking, or search engine websites, as well as any other media in which it advertises and in any retail establishment, comply with the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. Warning letter responses should include the following information. Describe your plan to mitigate and correct the violation or violations identified in the warning letter, as well as any additional corrective actions taken. Include dates which corrective actions were taken. Describe your plan for maintaining compliance with the FD&C Act. The response also provides you an opportunity to explain why you believe your products are not in violation of the FD&C Act and its implementing regulations. Failure to ensure full compliance with the FD&C Act may result in FDA taking regulatory or legal action, including but not limited to civil money penalties, no tobacco sale orders, criminal prosecution, seizure, and/or injunction. Once the response has been drafted, the warning letter response should be sent via email to ctpcompliance@fda.hhs.gov or any other email addresses listed and mailed to the address on the slide. Include in your response any unique identifier stated in the warning letter. This unique identifier is found at the end of the warning letter. If you have questions about the warning letter, contact the phone number or email address identified in the warning letter. Thank you for watching.